I'm Daryl Battagna. I'm Director of Collections at Glenbow. We're all going to be missing the Calgary Stampede this year, so it seemed like a particularly good time to look at a small sampling of the Stampede-related objects that we have in our collection. This is the first of two behind-the-scenes tours that I'll be doing, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to talk about a small sampling of objects from our Stampede collection. In most cases, I'll talk about the objects themselves and the people who used them, created them, or owned them. This will be Stampede stories as well as Stampede things, and we'll cover the period from 1912 up to about the 1960s. The first one that I'm going to talk about actually predates the Stampede as we know it, but I thought I'd show it to illustrate the types of things that were happening in Calgary before the Calgary Stampede. This is a sign for the Alberta Provincial Exhibition in 1909. I like their attitude. It says it will be larger and better than the recent Dominion exhibition, and that the attractions will blot out all worry. It also advertises a ladies' band out of New York, acrobats, dogs, and ponies. The first Stampede, as we know it, was held in 1912. It was organized by Guy Weaddick, and these two belt buckles belong to Weaddick. The first is made with silver and gold. Weaddick had the buckle made for himself as a commemoration of the success for the first Calgary Stampede. Weaddick started the Stampede with the financial backing of a group known as the Big Four. They were A.E. Cross, Patrick Burns, George Lane, and Archie McLean. Weaddick was originally from Rochester, New York, with experience in vaudeville and rodeo. He had a gift for showmanship, and he was an expert roper. This second belt buckle, also of gold and silver, was presented to Weaddick by the board of the Stampede in 1952. Over the years, Weaddick and the board had had a somewhat stormy relationship, and they actually fired him in 1932. But they also recognized his contributions to creating the event, which helped to identify Calgary. And you can see that this buckle has a rope design around the edge, reflecting Weaddick's expertise. This handmade megaphone was used at the Calgary Stampede in the 1940s. Unfortunately, we don't know who made it or exactly how it was used. This is a sign from the Continental Auto Body Supply Shop. They started using it in the 1940s. It came to Glenbow in 1993, and it's one small example of Calgary businesses buying into the Stampede and helping to promote it and make it a community event. These boots were worn by Gloria Claver, Stampede Queen, in 1948 when she was 19 years old. She wore the boots throughout the year that she reigned. The first Stampede Queen was appointed in 1946. It became a competition in 1947. Candidates were sponsored by community associations and organizations such as the Elks and Lions. Whoever sold the most tickets became the Queen. Gloria worked at her father's gas station. This may be what gave her the opportunity to sell more tickets than her competitors. The Stampede made a good choice with Gloria, though. Unlike many other women competing to be queen or ladies in waiting, as well as being a figure skater, Gloria was an accomplished rider. She was considered graceful and elegant, and she competed in horse shows into the 1950s. As you can see, the workmanship on the boots is rather stunning with a pattern of roses. They're also embossed Calgary Stampede 1948, and the design is carried onto the heels in silver. These boots came to Glenbow from Evelyn Eagle Speaker Locker. Evelyn Eagle Speaker wore them and the accompanying belt when she became Stampede Queen in 1954. She gave them to Glenbow in 2012. Evelyn was the first Indigenous woman to become Queen. She was 19 when she was crowned and was from Kainai in southern Alberta. At the time, she was studying at Henderson Secretarial College in Calgary and was sponsored by the Calgary Elks Club. Her win became somewhat controversial when the Stampede did not want her to wear a beaded white buckskin dress that had been made by her mother. However, compromise was eventually reached. She wore the traditional dress for the crowning ceremony and the parade, and after the parade for the rest of Stampede Week, she wore the custom-made clothing provided by the Stampede, including these boots. Again, you can see the workmanship on the boots with insets and stitching, although the pattern is very different from Gloria Claver's boots. You can see from the soles the boots were well worn, but the heels were replaced at some point before they came to Glenbow. Eagle Speaker Locker was active in many First Nations groups in later years and became a respected elder and a champion powwow dancer. She was also honored by the Stampede as one of its 100 outstanding Albertans and is described as being a pioneer for the Indigenous community. This shirt was beaded by a young woman named Lee McIsaac and her then fiancé Duke in about 1954. It's one example of the type of adornment that was being added to Western clothing at the time. Fancy embroidery, satin, and lots of beads were in style. This particular shirt was worn by Duke in 1956. Lee had one that matched, also in the Glenbow collection. The pattern came from McCall's, and Duke helped to do the beading. McCall's introduced beading patterns in the 1940s as a way to dress up clothing so it could be used as evening wear. They also issued a variety of Western patterns in the 1940s and reissued them in the 1950s. And the two come together in this shirt. In addition to beading, fringes were an important part of the design and the look, and again, attention was paid to every detail.